Hi, Henry.
Hi, Henry.
Okay. I had it muted on my end. I apologize. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Are we all set, Miss Jackie?
So what, I'm sorry?
Are we all set?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, it is, according to my electrical gadgets, it's 6 o'clock. Today is May 4th, 2020, and I called a regular meeting of the Community Development Corporation of Los Fresnos to order. Item number A. Under B, invocation and pledge, Mr. House.
Invocation. Okay. Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity to come together as a board here, and we just pray, Father, your guidance, your wisdom. We pray an end to this pandemic quickly. We pray that you'll protect us and guide us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, under item number C, Miss Jackie, do we have any speakers signed up?
No, we don't.
Okay, moving on to item D, action items. Under number 1, consideration and action to approve the minutes of May 2nd, 2020. Those are contained in our packets. Any questions, comments, discussions, discrepancies, or changes?
I'll make the motion to approve action on the minutes from March 2nd, 2020.
Okay, I heard that, but I don't know who said that.
That was me, Marco Westbrook.
Oh, okay. And there's a second?
I'll second it.
And
That's
who is
Andy.
I?
Andy Gonzalez.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion and a second that we approve the minutes of March 2nd, 2020. Do we have any questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Is there anybody vote nay? It's unanimous. Under item number 2, D2, consideration and action to acknowledge the March and April 2020 financial report, A, monthly, B, year-to-date, and C, sales tax report. Mr. Milam.
Yes, sir. I have on packet page 8, you'll see the list of checks for March. Quite a few of them in there. There was a couple for the training supplies through our high demand training program that we're involved in. And then there was quite a bit about close to 10,000 in the nature park piece that was approved back in February. Otherwise, there's no unusual checks in there. A couple of signed grants that were previously approved got done, so that's all on that, unless you have any questions. On the next page, back page 9, total revenues year-to-date $214,708, which is 54.9%, which is at March 31st we're halfway out, so we're good on revenues. Expenditures we're at 41%. And then the next 10, 11 12 and 13 are just, how all those bills, go into each account. If it's okay, I'll talk about, the accounts under the April one, because it'll have both March and April. And if that's okay, then turn to page 15, and you'll see the check register for, April. Once again, there's, nothing unusual. There's again, some training, materials that we bought for the training class that is covered, either with the grant or with our matching portion. But it does have to flow through our accounting system. The rest of them is normal. I guess the one's unusual is the Car Riggs Ingram, which is our audit, and is to pay off the last part of, having the audit done. But otherwise, it's good. The next page, on packet page 16, you can see we're, through April, we're 58.33% of the year completed, and we have 62.15% of our revenue collected, 243,066 and some change. Disbursements, we're at 64%, 137 of it is actual spent, and then you'll see encumbered 114,856, and that is, part of the grant, part of the stuff that, the work we're doing in the nature park. But it's encumbered in the system, it just hasn't been paid out, because it's not complete yet. But it shows encumbered, that way, we don't overspend. The next page is page 17, we're at 62% in actual sales tax, $241,000. And when we do the sales tax report, I'll talk more about that. The next page, you see, page 18, 19, 20, on the salaries, we'll have to move a little bit of money for the interns that we've been using for different things. But besides that, we're in, budget is in line, nothing, unusual. We're looking really good, budget-wise for the year. If you'll turn to the, I think, Henry, you got it in the email.
Yes.
Sales tax report, and the rest of you got it, I think, Tom, you got it in your packet, and the rest of you got it here. Kind of the critical thing, because of the situation we're in, you can see, March, we were up 12%. April, we're down 7.16%. Overall, for the year, we're up, 2.67%. I don't know what, just so y'all know, the, March is when businesses started closing, and of course, April, all of April will be that way. Our March sales tax report comes in May, so we will know what effect this has had on us with that, here in another few weeks, at least in March and April. We can assume that April will probably be a little worse than March. We don't project huge losses like some cities, because, you know, some cities rely on the mall and a lot of box stores where you have, Bed Bath & Beyond and all of those that are not even part of the mall. You know, we don't have that. It will affect because of the restaurants, but it could be that our grocery sales are so high that it may offset anything we lost the other way. Talking to Walmart, their numbers of customers have dropped 50%, but their sales have gone up 50%. So, you know, people are just buying a lot less people in the store, but they're spending more money. So, you know, even if we have a drastic drop-off here, to reach our budget, we only have to average about 29,000 for the rest of the few months, and with things starting to become open up again, people are just itching to go and do, as you can see, if you're out and about at all. So I think we're gonna be fine. We do our budget conservatively for that reason. If we, like I say, if we were at a mall, had a mall and things like that, we would be hurting like some of those other folks that we just don't have those businesses. Any questions?
Does that conclude your report, Mr. Milo?
Yes, sir. Yes.
We have any questions, comments, discussion on the monthly, year-to-date, and the sales tax report by Mr. Milo? Okay, that being the case, do I hear a motion? And please identify yourself because I can't tell who's speaking. Has to do
I,
with-
Marco Huerta, acknowledge the March and April 2020 financial monthly year-to-date report sales-tax. Next month. Can I come out?
That was Marco.
Okay, Marco, you made a motion to acknowledge?
Yes.
That's correct.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Bill Lovin.
Mr. Bill, good to hear you. We have a motion and a second to acknowledge the March and April 2020 financial report, A monthly, B year-to-date, and C sales tax report. Again, any questions, comments, discussions? That being the case, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody say nay? The ayes have it, unanimous. Under D, item number 3, consideration and action to approve CDC 2018-2019 audit report. Again, Mr. Milo.
I am ready. If you'll see on packet page 23, it's a comparative from 2018 to 2019. Assets were up because we had more cash on hand. However, liabilities were up as well because the way the year ended, we owed some bills that, were already in the system. So as you flow that down, total assets and liabilities, 376,882 versus 274,003 last year. So we were increased our liabilities and fund balance by about $100,000. So we'll show the fund balance on the next page. If you'll turn to the next page, that actually tells you how we did the year. And our revenues were up right at $46,000. Most of it in our sales tax, which is a 12.9% increase over 2018. And then expenditures, we were up a little bit, 36,000 in expenditures, 11% increase. So we had more money, we did more projects. The good thing is, as you'll see down below that, we added to our fund balance 39,944. So fund balance went from 228,826 to 268,770. And if you recall, fund balance is the excess left over that we can keep for a rainy day. This time that we're in might be that rainy day. So it's good that we have that, and we're very secure in the fund balance. But audit turned out very well, and no problems found, anything with the CDC. That's all I report.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion on item number D3 to approve the CDC 2018-2019 audit report?
I make a motion, we approve the CDC 2018-2019 audit report. This is Tom Jones.
Good to hear you, Mr. Jones. Is there a second?
Marco West, I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the CDC 2018-2019 audit report. Before we vote, do we have any questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. For the record, the ayes have it. It's unanimous. We'll move on to item number D4, consideration and action to approve the alley paving project. Mr. Milam.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, if you recall, in budget year, well, actually, it was before budget year, but it was, last year when we did some other alleys and did some work, it was asked that we try to finish them up, and we budgeted $60,000 for that project. Because of the amount, we had to go through official advertising through the newspaper, and we got 3 bids, and in your packets, the low bidder, and we tried to say, okay, what can we do for $60,000? And so the $60,000 and it is the critical ones behind Abby's Bakery, and Auto, Cricket, behind Circle K, just a little patch there, a sidewalk and curb there by Como and 100, and that totals $59,716.50. We did include 3 more alleys. The one alley behind the post office, J&B's, and on the end is going to be a new clinic. That one was $23,917.25. The one behind Navarro's that goes, if you come out behind Stripes or McDonald's, and there's an alley that goes from 3rd Street to 2nd Street. That's almost $17,000, and then we always get for some reason, people use the alley behind the old Methodist church a lot, and so we had put that on there just to see what those figures will be. The last 2, there's no, in my mind, people don't go through there a lot. You can just look at the Navarro's, they don't. There's not you can tell when alleys used a bunch, and that one's not, so we feel good that we can get that much down on $59,716.50, but I would love to see us go ahead and maybe use some of that fund balance for the one behind post office. It is used a lot. Those people exit, and if you've ever exited there, there's a tremendous amount of holes, and I just think it would pretty well get the used alleys in top-notch shape if this board felt that that's the way they wanted to go.
Thank you, Mr. Milam. Now, your recommendation is what?
Is to do the $59,716.50 to meet the budget, but then go ahead and do the one for $23,917.25, where right behind the post office, J&B's, and the new medical clinic that will go there on the corner.
Okay.
We have to eliminate some of the originals, or?
Well, that's up to you. My recommendation is to do the 59, if you want to stay just with the budget, do what I recommended, $59,716.50. But I'm also recommending that we spend more than the 60 and use the fund balance to cover $23,917.25 and go ahead and do the other one. That is a very much needed one.
Okay. So we could, well, we're already in for the 59,716, correct?
Correct.
So we can choose to do some, all of it, or none of it. And I don't think none of it is a good option of the remaining 3 items. It looks like we absolutely got to do the post office, for lack of a name to it, the $23,000 one. The Navarro's, that one, I travel, we all travel. I know, Mr. Jones, you walk that. I see you out there with your pet. But the church, and I'm not being sacrilegious here, but I guess that would be the order. To me, the order in how we do things is to do that. We are in a touchy situation because we don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic and stuff. The safe call would be to do the post office. My notion is it's not that much. Yes, it's a lot of money, but may as well take care of everything and we're done with it. Anyway, that's my notion, and those are my comments. I don't know if anybody else has different or other comments.
What's the total we have in fund balance?
268,770, so, we've got plenty when you're looking at those terms.
At church, and then the ones on top. Because the one, adding the church and the one on top, you're looking at about 83,600.
Right. But the 60's budgeted, right, that will take from the fund balance. The only thing that takes from the fund balance is anything besides, which would be any of those 3,
Which would be the 3 bottom ones.
Right.
which is about 55, a little bit less than 55,000.
Well, it seems like that, you're looking at the total of the 3 on the bottom being about, 70% of the total that you've already approved. I would almost say post office and maybe Navarro's. Wait on the office complex and see next month what kind of a sales tax input we have, because we can always come back for the 13.7 on the office complex. But the one behind Navarro's is all grass, and that's not going to be very good because we're coming into hurricane season. If it rains, that's going to get bad. Post office pretty much has to be done.
Oh, post office, yeah.
Yes.
So I would almost say with the 59.7 we've already approved, I would take the post office and Navarro's and wait and see next month how our tax income is, and because we can always approve that and do it. And I'm sure the contractor will probably give us an extension.
Yeah, they won't be through with it all by then.
Right.
So,
I think that's a good idea, Mr. Jones. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, Mr. Jones, do you want to make a motion?
Sure. I make a motion that we, in addition to the approved $59,716.50, that we add the post office, the $23,917.25, and the $16,997.25 projects to be approved.
Okay. There's a motion that we approve $23,917.25 for paving the alley behind the post office, and additionally $16,997.25 for the alley behind Navarro's. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll make a second, Marco.
Thank you, Marco. Is there any further discussion, any questions or comments? That being the case, all in favor of the motion as stated and seconded, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. It's, all those, anybody opposed to it, say nay. It's unanimous. I will move on to, if you're watching me on TV, it looks like I'm nodding off, but I'm not. I'm looking down at my paperwork. Let's see, report by CDC consultant under E1 for March and April 2020, monthly report.
That's nothing like,
Oh,
just talk loud.
hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can take this off. Can you hear me, Counselor?
I can hear you, sir.
All right. In the brief report, as you can see in the main categories, they're working with our business community, our chamber. What we are doing, trying to get the word out. In terms of help that's available throughout our resources in the region. The other, of course, is working with our stakeholders at the training center. You obviously know it's closed, but they finished right at the time we went to the shelter in place. Our stakeholder being CCEI, Cameron County Education Initiative. We always keep in touch with them because applicants come here, applicants go there as well. We send their information, goes into the workforce for registration approval of applicants, and they start the classes. So we are going to, classes start on the 2nd. We finished the first class right at, as you can see, 13 trainees, and they get started today. Going virtual on the NCCR training, starting today between 10 and 16. We'll check tomorrow, next day, so see how they're doing in terms of enrollment on virtual. All the virtual work is actually being done by Pearson, which is the only licensee for NCCR training, but they are monitoring all the work, CCI, and see how that works out. We have a lot of eyes on it, including the Commissioner of Labor, that's interested to know how this works, because, well, it's a model that's unlike very many of the state tech in terms of NCCR training. The second is, of course, the interns were all, they've been not laid off, but they were sent home during this critical time. And one of the interns is now back helping out with his educational program. We've got a training program, rather. And we've also been working with the city, Public Works, myself, and with those consultants that do all the food under the budget to do all the food for us, to develop the site plan and the development, go further in the development of the butterfly and birdie attractions out there. I've been working with the committee on and on, communicating through email or text, and we continue moving forward. We should be doing the quotes for the community contract to have a list and for nurseries, etc., and bring you that report as it progresses. Again, the team there is, of course, myself, Public Works, Department of Parks. We're going to be doing some work out there. We do have the blinds, the superstructure, I call it. The next step is putting the roof on, the roof, tin roof, and then doing the pathways, water, electrical, etc. So that is progressive. We had not better than anything, but we did a lot of research in economic development. As you can see, the fourth item down there, EDA, there's West Funding, it's now gone, and they've redirected because of the crisis, and no longer EDA funds, but they're waiting for the next CARE Act for municipalities, see if that's coming down the tube, and we have a shovel-ready project available out there at the park that the city had approved for a public works project, which is basically drainage of that area. And Mr. Milam is working on that. But again, workforce, been working closely with them. I think we have a good model for training in the community, and hopefully that can be replicated throughout the state if we continue to do this, even in hard times. And even right now, we have, according to workforce, in this zip code, before we went into shelter in place, we had less than 300 unemployed. Today, 1,151 is the number I got. So you can see the critical points. One of the benefits of this community, though, that probably not has a positive going for us, that we have a major employer, which is not only a school district. Now, we have a major employer that hired over 1,200 people in town, 3 shifts, and that's helping continue to circulate the checks in town, if I may, the income of families and working in this area. So, we'll report back to you next month how things are going. Any questions? I thank you. And I thank the committee members for working with me.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Okay, now, moving on to item F, report by the general manager, A, job training, B, bleachers, C, Little League upgrades, D, planner upgrades, E, lighting upgrades, and F, nature park project. Mr. Milam.
Yes, sir. Desi took care of job training on A. It was great that we were able to finish that first class right before all this broke out, so we were good. And it's cool that the virtual classes started today, so that's pretty neat to see how that'll go. Bleachers, they're all in place and ready to go if there's a Little League season. They won't be waiting on us for bleachers at least. Those ones that we bought. Would like to look for next year some permanent bleachers on at least the main field, but that'll be for another time. Little League upgrades basically is the sprinkler system's in, the grass is in. Fencing is about half done on the east field. The east field is almost done. The west field is just starting. They should be done within a week and a half. Little League has said that, Little League International has said that they will allow people to start meeting and beginning to discuss their starting operations May the 11th. Of course, we know the governor has a May 15th deadline before he gives other updates. We don't know whether that will include 10 or 12 kids playing ball. My opinion, probably not. From what I've seen, I don't know that would be something that would be allowed, but who knows? But we're going on so that we'll be ready by the end of next week. If they're able to go, they won't be waiting on us. It really looks good if you go and look at the fence now versus the way it was. Probably the fence that was there was new whenever I was a kid. So it's been a while. Planter upgrades, the plants are in, doing good. Our staff is watering them as they need to be on a regular basis. Right now it's pretty frequently because we haven't had any rain or any moisture. So that project's done. The lighting upgrades, all of it's been ordered. It's 8 to 10 week time order. So since we did the order, we're a week or two from that being happening. So we hopefully those new lights will come in and can be put up, in the next month or so. And then the last one is Nature Park, and Desi, pretty well, talked about that. We're gonna be working with, whoever we need to work with, part, staff and part, get other folks to help us with, sprinkler parts, sprinkler systems for, I guess it's not really sprinkler, but watering for plants and exactly what kind of plants, and then, roof on the bird blinds and some stuff like that. But, it's looking good, positive, and it'll be cool when we're done. And let me say, not done, but finished with that piece. We will probably not be done with the nature park for many, many, many years. There's so much we can do good there, so, that's gonna be a working project for a long, long time. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Milam. The only comment I have is, well, if we get a little more time because of what's going on, that'll give the grass a little time to grow. We'll have real nice fields. Well, that's the upside of that. Thank you for your report. Moving on to item G, committee reports and actions as may be appropriate. Mr. Jones, I understand you would like to speak on one of these matters?
Yes. I have a suggestion. I've put a short piece, out to the individuals here. I don't know whether or not you have seen it, Henry?
No.
Okay. It's basically a suggestion, since we're very shortly going into hurricane season, and as a promotion and advertising for the city, I would like to suggest maybe the city take a look at a weather station to where, with all the pertinent information that comes with it, that we would be able to put it, say, on the city website. Maybe we could put it on the welcome sign, part of the information. It would be nice if every TV and radio station had the time and temperature and all the information concerning Los Fresnos, so that they are on their way to the beach. They would know what the weather's gonna be like. Also make that available to fire departments and the EMS departments who don't have immediate access to that information. So, that's my suggestion is, I don't know whether it be advertising or promotion for the city, either one, but I think it would certainly be of a benefit to the citizens of the city, as well as the fire department and anybody that wants to know about the temperatures in Los Fresnos. Any comments?
I think that's a very good idea, Mr. Jones. I think that's a great idea. My only question is when you say a weather station, are we talking about gathering information from an existing source or putting up our own little weather system there, weather equipment like a wind, one of those wind apparatuses that measures the speed?
The speed of the wind? Well, we could look at both. See what a commercial station would run that we'd be able to afford, or putting that information together from sources. And I don't know if there's anybody locally that has all that information, but we could certainly look into it and make a presentation.
That sounds good.
We'll look from, see if we can get a hold of the National Weather Service to get some input from them and bring something back to you.
Sounds good. That's a good idea, Mr. Jones. I agree with that. And you know, it's what you say is exactly true. We hear a lot about the weather in Brownsville and sometimes what's going on in Rio Grande City. That's 90 miles away. And we want to know what's going on in Los Fresnos. So that's that's a good idea. Very relevant also to the traffic flow that we have going through our city. So, Mr. Milam, I'm guessing you're gonna look into that by next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know that there's some weather stations that aren't that, I say aren't that expensive, but there's some small weather stations you can put up for getting local temperature, wind speed, direction, that kind of stuff. The big picture with radar and all of that, of course, we're not going to go there since there's a lot of, you know, a lot of places on the internet that'll give you a radar. So, but it's a good idea. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Does that complete your address?
Yes, I would just, another comment. One evening I caught the news, I think Channel 4 was the only one that had Los Fresnos on its map, where it's given temperature, and the other two, I've never seen it on there. So it'd be nice to have a good advertisement, or at least be recognized by all three stations, and also the radio stations that would utilize that information.
Sure, yeah, this cuts in different directions. One of them, it promotes our city, but the other one, it provides a service to our citizens, the community, and that's what we're all about. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Jones. Anybody, we'll take the rest, we'll take a short route. Anybody have anything to report from the other committees? That being the case, we move on to item H. Adjournment. This meeting is adjourned at 6:41. Ladies, I say ladies because Jackie, you're probably the only lady in the room, but there may be people listening on the internet. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Great meeting. It's a pleasant experience having to do this via Zoom and stuff, but it does work. Thanks again. Good night.
Thank you.
Miss Jackie, I'm gonna leave the meeting.
All right.
You need for me to sign something? I'm just kidding.